I grew up in front of the world, and for some reason, people can't seem to grow up with me. Instead, they act like I'm supposed to stay frozen in time, and because I don't, I'm now a target. The fact that adult writers are spending their time dissecting my face, my body, my choices is disturbing, and the fact that some of these articles are written by women. I refuse to apologize for growing up.
At 12 years old, the world knew her name. Millions watched her face on their screens. Millions applauded. Millions smiled. But no one asked a simple question. What does fame do to a child? While the cameras flashed, while interviews praised her maturity, while the internet crowned her a star, a childhood was quietly disappearing. This is not a story about success. This is not a story about talent. This is the hidden cost of fame and what happens when growing up becomes a public performance. Millie Bobby Brown. Fame came first. Childhood came last. When Stranger Things premiered, the world didn't just meet a character. They met 11, a silent girl with a shaved head, wide, frightened eyes, a child carrying pain far heavier than her age. What most people didn't realize was that behind 11 stood another child. Millie Bobby Brown was only 12 years old. 12, an age meant for school backpacks, sleepovers, and discovering who you are. Not global fame, not magazine covers, not millions of opinions. But fame didn't ask permission. Overnight, Millie became a worldwide phenomenon. Her face was everywhere. Her name was everywhere. Her childhood was nowhere. Red carpets replaced school hallways. Press tours replaced playtime. Long flights replaced family dinners. Instead of worrying about homework, she worried about interviews. Instead of playing with friends, she practiced answers. And instead of growing quietly, she grew up in front of millions. She wasn't just acting anymore. She had become the face of a franchise. Netflix wasn't selling a show. They were selling 11, and 11 was Millie. With that came a level of pressure no child is built to carry. Adults asked her adult questions.
Millie, it was your first kiss, is that right?
Yep.
It was.
Journalists analyzed her intelligence. Talk shows praised her wisdom. The world didn't see a child. They saw a product. Every smile was studied. Every outfit judged. Every word dissected. If she spoke too confidently, she was too grown. If she spoke shyly, she was unprepared. There was no winning. One wrong look became a headline. One awkward moment became a viral clip. One mistake became a lesson learned in public. Fame didn't arrive slowly, allowing her time to adjust. It arrived like a wave, sudden, overwhelming, unforgiving. And Millie had no time to grow into it. She was praised constantly for being mature for her age. But that praise hides a darker truth. Children are not meant to be mature. They are meant to be protected. Maturity that comes from pressure is not growth. It's adaptation. It's learning how to survive expectations. It's learning how to hide fear behind confidence. It's learning how to perform even when you're exhausted. Millie wasn't growing up fast because she wanted to. She was growing up fast because she had to. And while the world celebrated her success, the cost was quietly accumulating. Because childhood doesn't disappear all at once. It fades, one interview at a time, one expectation at a time, one moment where being a kid is no longer allowed. And by the time anyone notices, it's already gone. Child stardom is not a fairy tale. It's a pattern. Millie Bobby Brown's story feels shocking. It feels modern. It feels sudden. It feels like something created by the internet age. But the truth is far more unsettling. This story has been told before, again and again and again. Hollywood has always loved children, not because it understands them, but because it can shape them. For decades, studios have discovered young talent, placed them under bright lights, and turned innocence into entertainment. The formula rarely changes. Find a child with something special, put them in front of a camera, build a narrative around them, and sell that story to the world. Fame arrives before identity. Before a child knows who they are, the world decides for them. They are labeled early: the gifted one, the mature one, the prodigy, the future star. Those labels follow them everywhere, and slowly, quietly, they replace curiosity with expectation. A normal child is allowed to fail. A famous child is not. Every misstep becomes a lesson learned in public. Every awkward phase becomes permanent evidence. There is no private growing up, only performance. Child stars don't grow in stages like everyone else. They grow in seasons. One role defines them. One success traps them. One mistake haunts them. And when the audience moves on, they're left to figure out who they are without applause. Hollywood calls it opportunity. But opportunity without protection becomes pressure. And pressure without guidance becomes damage. This isn't about one actor. It's about a system that repeats itself. Different faces, different decades, same outcome. Some child stars burn out early. Some disappear quietly. Some fight their way back years later, carrying scars no one ever saw. And every generation believes it will be different this time. It never is, because the industry rewards success, not survival. And until childhood is valued more than profit, the pattern will continue. New names, new shows, new headlines, same cost. The psychological cost no one talks about. Fame changes how the brain develops. For adults, it can distort reality. For children, it can reshape identity before it's fully formed. A child star doesn't grow up asking, "Who am I?" They grow up asking, "Who do they want me to be?" When millions of people praise you at a young age, that praise becomes more than encouragement. It becomes oxygen. Applause teaches a dangerous lesson early. Love is conditional. When you perform well, you are celebrated. When you disappear, the attention fades. And for a child still learning self-worth, that silence can feel terrifying. Psychologists have long warned that children need stability to form identity. They need routine, they need privacy, they need space to fail safely. Child stars get none of that. Instead, they grow up under constant evaluation. Every performance is reviewed, every interview analyzed, every change noticed. They learn to monitor themselves constantly. How they speak, how they smile, how they sit, how they react. The camera becomes invisible, but the pressure never does. Over time, this creates anxiety, not because the child is weak, but because they are always being watched. Fame removes the freedom to be ordinary, and ordinary is where mistakes are forgiven. Child stars often struggle with something most people never consider: identity confusion. They are praised for playing someone else, loved for a character, rewarded for pretending. Eventually, the lines blur. Am I loved for who I am or for who I play? When a child's sense of worth is tied to performance, failure doesn't feel like a setback. It feels like rejection. That's why many former child stars describe adulthood as disorienting.
What is the true psychological impact and cost of child stardom, and really high-performing children at large?
For the first time, the cameras slow down. The attention fades. The roles stop coming. And suddenly, they are alone with themselves. No applause, no script, no direction, just silence. Some fill that silence with reinvention, others with anxiety, others with self-destruction. And the public often asks the wrong question: what went wrong? The truth is, nothing went wrong. This was always the cost, because children are not built to carry the emotional weight of fame. They are built to explore, to stumble, to grow unseen. When that process is interrupted, the consequences follow them for years, sometimes for life. The internet, media, and the death of privacy. There was a time when fame ended at the studio gate. When the cameras turned off, childhood could resume. That time no longer exists. For today's child stars, the internet never sleeps. It watches, it comments, it judges. Every moment is documented. Every expression analyzed, every change noticed. Social media has turned childhood into content. A child star no longer grows up in private. They grow up in timelines, screenshots, and comment sections. Millie Bobby Brown learned this early. As her fame exploded, so did online attention. Not all of it was kind. Strangers debated her body. Adults made inappropriate comments. Memes turned her into a joke. She was still a minor. Yet the internet treated her like public property. One post could trigger thousands of opinions. One interview could become a trending topic. One awkward moment could live forever. The pressure wasn't just to perform well, it was to exist perfectly. The internet does not allow growing pains. It freezes moments in time and refuses to let them fade. A bad haircut becomes a meme. An emotional interview becomes ridicule. A normal teenage phase becomes a controversy. For a child, this creates constant hyper-awareness. They learn to monitor themselves even when alone, because somewhere, someone is always watching. Millie eventually made a decision many child stars reach. She stepped away. She deleted social media, not as a dramatic statement, but as self-preservation, because the constant scrutiny was damaging. And she wasn't alone. Many young stars retreat quietly from the internet, not because they hate fans, but because the emotional cost is too high. The internet rewards extremes. It amplifies praise, and it magnifies cruelty. And for a developing mind, that balance is impossible to manage. What makes this era more dangerous than any before? It is permanence. Past generations of child stars had scandals forgotten. Today, nothing disappears. Search results become history. Comments become memory. Mistakes become identity. A child star doesn't just live in the present, they live in an archive of every version of themselves, and the weight of that archive grows heavier every year. Privacy isn't just lost, it's erased, and without privacy, childhood cannot survive. When fame starts to break, child stars. Fame doesn't break people all at once. It wears them down, quietly, slowly, over years. For many child stars, the breaking point doesn't come during success. It comes after, when the cameras stop rolling, when the interviews slow down, when the attention fades, because fame teaches a dangerous rhythm early on. Applause, silence, applause, silence. And when that applause disappears, the silence feels deafening. Child stars are often expected to be grateful. Grateful for opportunities, grateful for success, grateful for attention. But gratitude doesn't cancel pressure, and it doesn't erase exhaustion. Behind the smiles, many child stars are struggling with things they don't yet have the words for. Burnout, anxiety, depression.
Like really bad anxiety, and I just struggled with it really bad.
They've lived years on schedules designed for adults. Early mornings, long shoots, constant travel, endless expectations. There is no pause button. And because their success comes early, they're often denied the one thing everyone else is allowed: time to figure things out. When adulthood arrives, many child stars feel unprepared. They've spent years being told where to stand, what to say, who to be. Now they're expected to suddenly know themselves. Some cope by disappearing. They step away from acting quietly. They choose anonymity over applause. Others struggle publicly. The pressure spills into their personal lives. The pain becomes visible, and the public begins to judge instead of understand. What went wrong? Why couldn't they handle fame? They had everything. But that question misses the truth. They didn't have everything. They had pressure. They had expectation. They had responsibility far beyond their age. What they didn't have was a normal childhood. And childhood is where emotional resilience is built. Without it, adulthood can feel overwhelming. This is why some child stars spiral. Not because they are weak, but because they were never allowed to be ordinary. They were never allowed to fail privately, never allowed to rest without guilt, never allowed to disappear without consequence. Fame teaches children how to perform. It does not teach them how to live. And when the performance ends, many are left searching for stability in a world that no longer knows their name. The tragedy isn't that some child stars fall apart. The tragedy is that we're surprised when they do, because the system that creates them was never designed to protect them. The ones who survive, and why they do. Not every child star is destroyed by fame. Some survive. Some grow into adulthood with clarity, with control, with purpose. But survival in Hollywood is not random. It's not about luck, and it's rarely about talent alone. It comes down to protection. The child stars who make it through often have something crucial behind the scenes, something the audience never sees. A strong support system, families who stay grounded, parents who say no when the industry says yes, adults who protect the child, not the paycheck. Survivors often have boundaries. They step back when things become overwhelming. They choose privacy over visibility. They understand that disappearing for a while is not failure, it's preservation. Millie Bobby Brown is one of those rare cases. As young as she was, she didn't rely solely on acting for identity. She diversified. She became a producer. She built a business. She chose projects carefully. Most importantly, she learned how to protect her personal life. She spoke openly about mental health. She set limits with media. She stepped away from platforms that were harming her. These choices didn't make headlines, but they made survival possible. What separates survivors from those who struggle isn't strength, it's agency, the ability to make decisions instead of being managed by them. Many child stars never get that chance. They grow up being told what's best for them by agents, by studios, by audiences. Survivors eventually reclaim control. They redefine success, not as fame, but as peace, not as applause, but as stability. And that shift changes everything. Because once a child star understands that fame is optional, not essential, the power dynamic breaks. Hollywood loses control. And for the first time, the former child star gets to choose who they are, instead of being told. Survival doesn't mean staying famous. It means staying whole. Hollywood's role in the damage. Hollywood likes to tell a comforting story. That child stars are lucky, that fame is a gift, that success at a young age is something to celebrate. But Hollywood doesn't talk about responsibility, because responsibility slows profit. At its core, the entertainment industry is a machine, and machines don't raise children, they consume output. Young stars are valuable because they are rare, because they are fresh, because they are marketable. Their youth becomes a selling point. Studios build entire franchises around them. Brands build campaigns around their faces. Media builds narratives around their growth. Every milestone becomes content. A child's first major role. A child's transformation. A child growing up. None of it belongs to them anymore. Hollywood calls this opportunity, but opportunity without protection becomes exploitation. Contracts are signed before children understand consequences. Schedules are created without regard for development. Expectations are set far beyond emotional maturity. And when things go wrong, responsibility disappears. Studios move on. Audiences move on. The industry replaces them. The child star is left behind to deal with the aftermath. Hollywood rarely asks, "Is this healthy?" It asks, "Is this profitable?" And as long as young stars generate attention, the cycle continues. One generation watches the next suffer and convinces itself it will be different this time, but nothing changes. Because protecting children costs money, and slowing production costs power. The system rewards results, not well-being. And the most dangerous part? The damage isn't immediate. It unfolds quietly over years. Long after the awards, long after the applause, long after the spotlight moves on. By the time the consequences are visible, Hollywood has already found its next star, and the story repeats. Different name, different face, same pressure. The industry doesn't need villains to cause harm. It only needs indifference. And indifference, repeated long enough, becomes damage. The final truth. Not every child star is broken, but every child star pays a price. Some pay with privacy, some with mental health, some with their identity. Fame gives everything quickly and takes quietly. If stories like this matter to you, if you believe these conversations should be heard, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It helps these stories reach more people. Millie Bobby Brown's story reminds us of something important. Strength isn't about surviving fame. It's about surviving yourself. When the world decides who you should be. If this story made you think, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, should children ever be famous? If you want to see a deeper look into Millie Bobby Brown's lifestyle, check the video I've mentioned here. I'll see you in the next video.